Deontay Wilder knocked out in stunning fashion out in Saudi. CombatTalk.fm. My name is Leicester. I'm your host, doing a out of cycle update about what happened in Riyadh. The 5x5 tournament out there ended with Queensberry, Marcus of Queensberry rules, dominating in a blowout, 5-5. Wilder was supposed to save it. He didn't save it. He was fighting Zhilei Zhang. People expected that Wilder was going to show something after his disappointing performance against Joseph Parker. What ended up happening, and I'm going to just say, people are telling Wilder, look, brother, it's time to hang it up. I'm not going to disagree with that messaging. I do think he's made enough money, and it's not worth his life, but he said he wants to die in there, but he also, prior to this, said it might be okay for me to hang up if I can't do this one. I say it's cool for him to consider retirement now. I think he's done enough. He went further than most expected him to. Remember, this is a guy, he got the bronze in the Olympics. That's true. But he started late. He didn't have a lot of, fights. He didn't have a lot of build-up. He just came out of nowhere, and he had freakish power and, most importantly, speed and athleticism. Like, his speed was out of the whack. And then early on, he was windmilling, and I think the windmilling contributed to some of his success. And when he stopped doing that, he showed chinks in the armor. If you look at some of his older fights, him windmilling is what got him past some of the tests that he had. But, there were guys that put him down, and that footage is no longer available online. There's then what happens with Fury, right? He gets put down, and he's fighting, and he put his ass out there. And I think that demoralized him and changed him. Wilder was changed. Fury was changed. Those are the kinds of fights you're not coming back from. So I was more disappointed in the Parker performance than I was in the Zhang performance. In the Zhang performance, at least he was trying. But I'll tell you what I saw against Zhang. This was really more to me about Zhang. Yes, Wilder couldn't pull the trigger. He did try to pull the trigger, but I think he waited too long to pull the trigger. I think Wilder's best strategy in this fight was to blitz from round one and just go after Zhang. But also, I think Wilder I don't want to say stationary, it's the wrong word. Straight up and down, he seemed to struggle moving. He just seemed to struggle to get out of the way of check hooks and counter shots coming back at him. And he wasn't, I don't think they had a good game plan. And I don't know if that was Malik or if it was Wilder's mind or what was going on. But it just seemed like he didn't have a good game plan for dealing with what was coming back at him. So you could watch Wilder, and it's like he's trying to set up like he does to get the right hand, and he was throwing the right hand, unlike against Parker. But the one moment that it looked like he was cleared to do it, Zhang knew exactly what was coming. Zhang catches him. I believe it was a check right hand. And you saw Wilder, and it was the most bizarre sequence. The commentators made the analogy to Hagler Hearns. That's exactly what I remembered from the ending sequence of Hagler Hearns. Hearns is coming forward. And Wilder, of course, there's a visual similarity. Hearns is coming forward. Hagler lands a shot as Hearns is coming in. Hearns does this weird dance hop away thing, and you see him smile because you could tell he's like concussed or something. And then, Hagler lands the final shot. That's exactly what happened here. Zhang lands this check shot, right hand, bang on the chin. It was a beautiful shot, but he wasn't even sat down on it. It was a shot Wilder did not expect coming. It was very similar to that Hagler Hearns sequence, but in terms of the timing of the shot and the beauty of its timing, you go back to, Sergio Martinez and Paul Williams. That was same type of beautiful timing where it just was a flawlessly timed shot, but Wilder turns his back. He turns away. And then he looks at the ref, he says something, whatever that was, and then just straight up, Zhang goes after him, just goes after. I never saw Zhang close distance the way I saw that time. He just closed the distance and then bang, hits Wilder on the chin with the opposing punch. Because Wilder's back was turned and Zhang came around again with the right hand. And that the sequence reminded me of when Klitschko, Grabomir Klitschko, nailed and dropped Joshua in the speed with which he closed in and got that shot. I felt like, although Wilder looked like a shell of himself, true, I felt like this was more about Zhang. He came off impressive to me in this one. He looked like a beater against somebody who did have a legit shot of nailing him, catching him, because he did tend to be flat footed. He wasn't flat footed this time. This felt like it was more about Zhang having the best strategy possible to deal with Deontay Wilder with an amazing performance. And again, I would not be averse to see Wilder retire for his health reasons, but we got to see what's going to happen there. Meanwhile, people are talking about rematches with Zhang and Parker now. Perhaps they do that one. I think Parker still deals with him, but it's now a more intriguing thing. But there's no way Wilder's going to get top fights at this point. There's no way you're going to see a Joshua fight at this point, not after the way he got knocked out. He tried, but he's not there. And the biggest weapon that he has always had is not there. And that's not the right hand. It's his vicious streak. It's his anger. He wasn't angry here. He wasn't angry against Zhang. He wasn't angry against Parker. He didn't have a beef. He didn't have a bone to pick. He didn't have anything that was, doing. It's a weird situation because Ortiz was sitting on punches landing on Wilder and he never got Wilder down. Tells me that Wilder's punch resistance is getting to a Amir Khan stage. That's not good for him. And I do hope he retires and enjoys his life and his family at this point. He's given enough to the sport, in my opinion, at least.